Hey there, everybody. It's Dave here, and it's time to gather round, ye fans of the frozen fray, where the north winds howl and the gridirons play. From the Bears' den deep in the Windy City's roar to the Lions' pride on Detroit's gritty shore. The Packers' cheeseheads in their Lambeau lair, and we Vikings bold with our skull in the air. Oh, the battles brew in this preseason storm. Turnovers twist. Rookies rise. Coaches reform. Who's clawing for the crown in the NFC North wild? Tune in now to Who Will Be King for the scoops undefiled. Let the battles begin. Hey, everybody, it's Dave here, and I have with me on the wrong side, on the wrong screen, here we go, two other compadres of the NFC North. We have Foster, from bleachers to speakers, representing said Lions I talked about in the gritty shores. And then we have Pay from the frustrated Chicago, much frustrated, perturbed, pissed off Chicago Bears or Chicago sports fan channel. Pay, how are you feeling on this Wednesday? And you're on mute.
Good day today, Dave. Woke up today, right? What's there to be sad about? It's a little rainy, but
Hey,
who can't get some rain from time to time?
I got you. Yeah, it'd be nice to cool down a little bit. Foster, how are things up in Motown?
A little muggy, but we're managing.
Okay, well, good. Well, we have a game to talk about first. Since our last broadcast, Foster's Lions played in the Hall of Fame game versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Final score, Chargers 34 and the Lions 7. Foster, you want to tell us how it went and what were your feelings afterwards?
Well, first and foremost, it definitely gave me some PTSD back to a time where the team was, very poor. Obviously we know that it was reminiscent of what we look like in the regular season. A lot of times, we don't try too hard to, draw many comparisons between preseason games, but it was kind of a disaster out the jump. I think we fumbled the opening kickoff. We had our special team specialist, but yet and still our backup running back actually running back kicks. It started with a butt fumble of sorts. He ran right into the backside of one of the blockers and lost the ball, and that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the game. Early on, there was a lot of short field. Kyle Allen had a couple interceptions, and like I said, that fumble was how we opened things up. But nonetheless, there were some good things to pull from the game. Kyle Allen, despite having a couple ill-advised throws, did get the ball out to some of our young rookie receivers. Isaac Tesla had a couple 20-plus yard receptions. Mr. Levette had a couple catches, had a couple drops as well. One that a couple that, one was kind of on him. Another one, led to an interception from Hendon Hooker later on in the game. But I think Levette is showing good the separation is there as far as getting open and being a reliable target. The other part and probably the more important part is securing the catch. That is pretty important. So, but a lot of people are excited about Tesla. They're comparing him already to Puka Nacua, and I think he was actually drafted before Nacua technically, but he's already getting first team reps. So pretty exciting to see what he's done thus far. Our project edge rusher out of Boise had a pretty good game. He's had four tackles, including one tackle for a loss. Our veteran corner, who's I think going to be splitting time between corner and safety, Rock Ya-Sin, had a couple dynamic hard hits, and I touched on Brock Stewart a little bit earlier as our special team specialist, but he's showing some pretty good motor. He had one particular play where he was blitzing. He got cut down on the legs, got back up, and was able to complete the play. So, definitely the type of motor and tenacity that we like to see out of our linebackers. And Hendon Hooker, who didn't get the start today, didn't get the start in that game. He played a lot with the third team. So it was kind of difficult to make a real assessment. Obviously, he's trying to win the job. Kyle Allen had a better start in camp, so he got the start in the game. But yeah, Hooker just seems to be pressing. He seems to be, he seems to not be letting the game come to him, and it's starting to show a little bit in his play. But like I said, he was playing with a third team. There wasn't he didn't have a whole lot to work with on his plate. So I'm hoping and expecting to see a much better version of him in the next game in Atlanta.
Very, very interesting. I know Coach Campbell said afterwards, it's a first one out of the gate. We turned it over 5 times and had 0 takeaways. That's hard. Can't put the defense in that kind of a position.
Right.
Caught and eating some of these guys getting out there and want them to lose and then also want to win and play well. Well, we didn't do it. Well, that was an obvious thing. You guys didn't. You got beat. But I came and caught a little bit of the post game, which had before the end of the game.
Halftime.
Now, that was last week's games. We'll do this week's games here in a little bit. But I want to ask a question. What is going wrong or right for the Chicago Bears in training camp? Okay?
That's an interesting phraseology there, Dave. What's
I
going
didn't say
right or wrong?
I don't care which direction you go, but
Yeah. I don't think there's anything going wrong with training camp. I don't think there's a lot going right, but we're 12. The Bears are off today, so I think that's been 12 total practices so far. I've off the top of my head, I think maybe 5 of them been padded. Yesterday was a extremely physical practice for the guys. A lot of the people that cover the squad, they've been saying this has been probably the most physical practice that they've seen in decades, going back to maybe when Lovey had the team back in Bourbonnais. Some people are saying, some of the guys on 670 are saying, going all the way back to when Wani was the coach, Stash McWani. But that's good. That's all good things. A couple of guys got thrown out. One guy got thrown out of practice. That was DeAndre Swift for throwing the ball. I think he either threw the ball at Kyler Gordon, or not Kyler Gordon, but Jonathan Owens, or threw a punch at him, something like that. I'm not too sure, but it wasn't necessarily a all-out brawl at practice. There was a lot of scuffles, a lot of maybe a little brouhaha or hullabaloo at practice yesterday, something like that. You had an instance where Kyler Gordon ripped the helmet off of Roma Duze. They got into a little shindig. Braxton Jones had a little thing going on with Amagaji. Amagaji was in two of them, two little fricases, and there was another one I'm blanking on. But anyway, it was a good amount of them. But it's all good things. You want to, as Grady Jarrett coined earlier in camp, you want to callous the body. We have a joint practice this Friday with the Miami Dolphins, so it is right on schedule to get all that testosterone built up and at its get it into the chamber so you can explode and reload at the right time on come Friday when you got to see a team that ain't your teammates. You ain't got to hold back against them. You can put them on on the block and spin them around. So do that, and then obviously at the preseason opener the day after.
I got you. And I can tell you that testiness is, I think, almost universal. I'm hearing about it break out everywhere, and I know it broke out in Minnesota this week as well. So
that's football.
That's football. Hey, when you start, when you're playing each other's every day, you tend to get a little bit perturbed. And it's
hot. It's hot. You got big guys on you. Like, stop leaning on me. You're touching me too much. I'm tired of seeing you. My boss is on my back yelling at me about lining up wrong. Listen, somebody gonna feel these hands in a second. I feel it. I get it, Dave. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I gotcha. So I do want to shout out everybody that's here today. Fig Beller, which NFC North team is going to finish second to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game? I'd say neither one of us will beat your Eagles in the process. So there's no second.
Back-to-back Super Bowl appearances for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, okay. That's rich.
But I do have one question. Comes from this video. Was he just having a bad day?
So the video, for those listening on audio, was the viral video of Caleb in the net drill. I'm not sure what the technical term of that is, wherein he missed the target on 3 consecutive throws.
So a lot more like 5, but okay. Who's counting?
Well, I saw only 3 on the clip. So what I've seen over the last few days concerning this, it's reminded me that we as humans, we are creatures of our negativity bias, thanks to our ancestors. And we live in a confirmation bias society, Dave. Like I said, thanks to our prehistoric ancestors, we are bound to give the negative our foremost attention. And because we live in a society we actually work in that same society, we live in a social media age where we are fed things that are confirm our own biases. And I do believe that majority of football watchers, fans, if you want to get nasty with it, have made up their minds on what Caleb is and what he isn't. That little clip that we are referencing triggers both, because it's like I said, it gets both of those things, those two biases going, for all football fans, the dumb ones and the smart ones alike. So I'm not going to help the dumb ones, that is, right now, but let's break down that clip. First and foremost, I want to say, who cares about a dumb net, Dave?
Well, I believe it's a hot route drill.
Well, I'll get to that in a second. This is the most we've talked about a net since Odell Beckham beat up one on the sidelines in New York. But yes, you are right. That net is it is a hot route type of bubble screen type drill, and for a bit to this point, Nets don't play football. They don't run routes. It's not important to me until I see Caleb not be able to hit the hands of a receiver on Sunday. But again, getting off topic, the drill is for quick plays. You don't have time to set your feet. You don't have time to get the laces. You just get the ball and throw, something like that. And you see in the clip, he missed it. It looked like 3 times. You say more so 5. But why did I bring up the bias part? Because that went viral. But no one talks about the very next day when he hit 5 out of 5 in the same drill. No one talks about that. And to that point, we are living in that echo chamber of what we like to talk about. Obviously, what we aspire to over here at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, we don't like to dip into the easy. We wanna examine the whole side of it. We talked about that first clip that you showed. We talked about that. Also, we've seen this drill before. We've seen how he does it, and we've seen it at least 6 different times in camp already. That one drill, that one time when he missed it, it's on Fox Sports 1. Colin Cowherd's talking about it. Dave Orlovsky's talking about it. But no one's talking about the other ones. So it is what it is.
I see it's gotten a little bit under your skin. But that's all right. I just imagine, Jonathan Grenard crashing down on the side, and he has to do that, and then Blake Cashman gets a pick. That's something like that's going to happen here in 30 some odd days?
32, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That 8th, right? September 8th, 32 days.
Yes, sir. So we will see. Now, I'm reading about sloppy execution and penalties. That stuff is behind where Coach Johnson feels it should be. Is that correct?
Well, if he said that, perfect. I haven't heard him say that, but based on the way he barks at everything, I would agree that he believes that. But that's what practice is for. No one's proficient in doing something that you've done 12 times, because it's been 12 practices so far at training camp. Nothing that you do in life will you be a professional at after doing it 12 times. But again, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. There is a lot of football fans don't actually know what training camp is for. A lot of football fans don't actually understand install. There is an issue with the pre-snap cadence issues and lining up incorrectly, pre-snap penalties. I get all that. That's not good. But Dave, do you know who was the most penalized, had the most pre-snap penalties last season?
No, I don't. Not off the top of my head.
They wore purple. Purple.
Cool.
They did.
Good.
All right.
The Ravens?
No.
It was the Ravens. It was the Ravens. A very good team. You all agree, right? A very good team. They were the most penalized team that had the most penalties pre-snap. Now, I'm not comparing the Bears to that team, because that team has 10 Pro Bowlers, I think 5 All-Pros. Bears are nowhere near that yet.
And a great quarterback.
One of the great, in fact, in my opinion, the best in the league. But story for another day. I'm not comparing the two teams. What I am comparing is that there is space to grow. If you're not messing up in practice, then you're not practicing the right things. You're not working on things you can get better on. You're just doing things that you already know you can do. So what would you show up for? Right? Back install. You're going to have issues with install, because Dave, I think you know this. B. Foss, I think you know this. What are you doing install? You're doing walkthroughs of stuff. You're learning it, then you're running it in 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. There are bound to be mistakes. There's bound to be things you mess up on, because you're just learning it for the first time. You're working through the things you're working through now. That's what training camp is for. Also, probably a layman don't understand. In training camp, there is we shouldn't look at it like it's a game. Don't tell me about Caleb with 5-17 in this practice. It's not a game, bro. Some of these situations are built in for you to look bad in, because we want to see how you react. We're telling the tackle, hey, let the guy through. We want to see him boot out to go to his right and see his reads. You want to say, hey, instead of the defense sitting in cover two, actually just move to the side a little bit. We want to see something out. You don't know what the expected result is from the play. We don't know that from where we're sitting. So just sit back, relax, take a chill pill, and stop worrying about these. Stop over analyzing things that we all really don't really understand what we're doing. Basically, what I'm saying, just take a break, Dave.
Well, I was going to ask, is Caleb Williams getting it? And I've got a couple quotes or a couple of teammates that said, yes, he is. And Roma Dunze and Kevin Bayard.
There's been, I'm not going to over defend the team. I think the practices have been, for a large part, been up and down. You have one day that's looked great from the offensive perspective. Next day is the defense got the better of them. They didn't look too good. There's a lot of, as you said, sloppiness, pre-snap penalties, guys dropping passes, guys lining up wrong, Caleb getting the wrong calls in, things of that nature. That part is the part they need to work on. The other stuff we got to figure it out. But everybody is saying that Caleb looks great. At least everybody that's in the room, Caleb looks great. Ozzie looks great. Braxton is coming along. Tremaine Edmonds looks great. TJ looks great. Stevenson looks great. I haven't heard anybody actually say, well, we're worried about this guy. He might lose his job. Other than Ben just lighting fires on the people. There's been some talk about certain starters that we never even considered, like, hey, his job might be up for grabs. We don't necessarily believe all that talk. I think some of it's just trying to, like I said, light a fire on the people. But Caleb on down, they look, as reported, they look like they get it.
I gotcha. How's the left tackle battle going?
Funny you asked that. So I think last week we talked about it, and I was saying that I think at that point, Ozzie Trapillo, the Bears' second-round draft pick this past draft, he was the guy leading the competition, based on him getting first-team snaps majority of the time now, while earlier in camp, you had him getting a lot of first-team snaps, was sharing them with Kyron Amagaji, last season's third-round draft pick, while Braxton, the incumbent starter, was just doing walkthroughs with the ones, which is a little confusing if one guy's getting snaps on the 11-11s, but the other guy's getting snaps with on walkthroughs. It's like, dang, that's kind of necessarily convoluted, but it's more so this, it wouldn't make too much sense, right? Well, it makes perfect sense when you realize Braxton's kind of hurt. But moving on, these last, I guess, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, you've seen Ozzie get all of the first team snaps now that they started doing padded practices. Kyron Amagaji, he's been hurt, so he's been missing in action a little bit. I think he's out of the running. But the part that's been surprising, there was an unofficial depth chart released last night, and they had listed Braxton Jones, the incumbent starter, as the number one guy on that depth chart for left tackle. So that raised a lot of eyebrows in the community. Like, wow, that's didn't expect that. Didn't see that one coming. So we're possibly going to see him out there Saturday if the starters do play. And yes, Braxton Jones. I would expect to see at least Braxton play. I would expect to see some of the starters, but we'll talk about games in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I got the same question for you, Foster.
Mm-hmm.
What's going right and what's going wrong in Detroit during the training camp?
Well, we just can't seem to keep our players off the whatever surface the injured players go. We can't keep them out of that area. One of our, a player of ours, he was the last player we drafted, Dan Jackson. He's like a a safety and a kind of an older player, but he just suffered a season-ending injury. So that's that's like the latest in serious injury news. But also Ennis Reckenstraw, who missed the majority of last year with hamstring issues, missed a couple of days with a chest injury, and now, according to Dan Campbell, is going to miss some time with the shoulder injury. So for whatever reason, he just cannot avoid it. If it's not one thing, it's another. It's not even the same injury. It's just jumping around to different parts of his body. But as far as the things that are going well, Giovanni Manu, who it was one of our left tackle projects that didn't play much football. I think is from Canada. Has looked pretty good. In practice and in preseason, so that's been encouraging. In addition to that, just the overall versatility that a lot of our guys are showing. We have an undrafted free agent defensive lineman out of Houston named Keith Cooper Jr., who's been playing all over the line, and he's earned some first team reps. Tyleik Williams, our first round pick this year, has been pretty disruptive. He actually earned a sack against Jared Goff in a segment where he was kind of side by side with Hutch, where they were able to provide some penetration and disrupt things. So it's the sack where they obviously don't take Goff to the ground or anything close to that, thank God. But it's encouraging to see him play well, especially considering Ali McNeil, our other defensive tackle alongside DJ Reader, is going to miss the first couple months of the year. So it's good to see him develop, because there's a decent amount of pressure on him to step in and be an impactful player immediately. But outside of that, DJ Reed, our CB1, our veteran cornerback, has looked pretty good in one-on-one drills. He's been running stride for stride with Jamison Williams, which is quite the feat considering the speed that he's got. And Khalif Raymond, who is kind of an underrated weapon that he missed a lot of time last year. Obviously, the buzz right now is Isaac Tesla, but I mean, he was quite the dynamic player prior to his injury. He was third in punt and return yards, yards per return on punt returns with 13.8. So he's somebody that's is going to kind of slip under the radar a little bit, but another impactful player that they're going to have to account for, along with the litany of other players that we have.
It does look like a mash unit over there.
It does. Must admit.
Has anybody returned?
Yes. I mean, we've had some. Yeah. I mean, I think every day of camp, somebody is leaving early with said injury. Some more serious than other, but Sione Vaki has returned. Who else? Anzalone, but that was kind of reported last week. A number of guys have returned from injuries, but it's kind of constantly off and on, in and out. I think Tim Patrick, one of our number 3 receiver, left early just a couple hours ago. So no reports yet as far as how serious it is, but every day it's somebody. So I don't know if that's a testament to the physicality, or somebody needs to lose their job because they're not preparing or rehabilitating these guys correctly. But just got to get to the regular season at this point.
I got you. Well, we sort of feel for you and the team. We'll see how it goes.
You don't have to. It's okay.
All right. Now, I did bring up the same question with the Green Bay Packers. Go, Pack, go! No, Pack, no. What is...
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. I won't do it again, I promise. At least for a while until I forget. Or drink that brain cell away. What is going right? Well, supposedly Jordan Love is being absolutely fantastic and super accurate and blah, 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 blah. And just like Pace says, then we hear, oh no, he's off target. He's missing stuff. What's wrong with him? Well, Jordan Love's problem has always been inconsistency. Now, whether he finds consistency this year, let's hope not. But it's interesting to see that I'm reading both sides. If you get stuff from the Green Bay press and the blogosphere over there, it's all, rainbows and bunny rabbits and unicorns and everything's great. Sure. And even the national press is all enamored with Green Bay. I don't know if you saw, but it was ESPN or NFL came out with their power rankings. Green Bay is super high. Second in the division and top 10. Foster your Lions were ahead of them. Not to worry. But I just don't see it. But we'll see. Let's see. What's the bad things? What's going wrong? Injuries remain a major hurdle for them as well. Marshawn Lloyd is sidelined with a groin injury. Supposedly can't catch a break. Well, again, training staff. Wide receiver Dontavian Wicks is out with a calf issue. Cornerback Nate Hobbs has been dealing with knee injury requiring surgery. When they're swapping a wide receiver to play corner, they're hurting on that. He's also been flagged for being too physical. I sort of have a issue with being too physical in camp. Especially, I can understand if starters are doing it. They've got their spot locked down. They don't want to hurt anybody. But if you're a young up-and-comer and you're trying to stay in the league and earn yourself a spot, yeah, well, go for it. That's how you get noticed. Do I want anybody hurt? No, absolutely not. But it is what it is. Let's see. Pass rush has been inconsistent. Now, is that because of the defense? Hopefully, yes. Or is it because of the offensive line? Hopefully, yes. Both on those. Tucker Kraft has been reported to have ball security issues. I guess he needs to, go to bed with it and sleep with it and walk around with it and cuddle it and caress it so he loses his issues. If not, by all means, keep him up.
I think Hims has a pill for that too. If you have ball security issues,
It very well could be, and we're open for sponsors if Hims wants to come on over. But it very well could be. But it's just a whole bunch of inconsistencies on execution. But that's when you do the research. Talk to beat writers. Look at beat writers for any team are the best to go to. And then you go to your bloggers, not the national. Those guys, they're putting out stuff on all 32 teams. They don't have time to really dig in deep to see what they're seeing. So they're talking about inconsistencies in execution, moments of inaccuracy, overthrows leading to picks, air quality affecting practice. Well, that's the case in Minnesota as well. Thank you, Canada. And, but, hey, it's going to be interesting to see how they develop, and we'll talk about their game. So, but for right now, we're going to take a quick break. so I can earn a little bit of beverage money. So can Foster and pay. And we'll be right back. And we're back. Now, Minnesota Vikings, what's right and what's wrong? There's both, believe it or not. I'm not going to blow smoke up everybody's butt and tell you everything's all rosy in Minnesota. It's not. There's issues. Now, what's right? We have a dominant defense. Oh, this defense is good. It's going to be elite. If everybody stays healthy, it's going to be very, very good. Great. That's one aspect of football. Now, we've got battles for backup positions, and they're going to be interesting to see who's going to be cornerback 4, 5, 6, stuff like that. But even they've had a couple of days where they've gotten beat by the offense, which you want to see in camp. You want to be, the offense being good. I love the fans that, the defense had a great day, and they go, what's wrong with the offense? Offense had a great day. What's wrong with the defense? Sort of deal. But it looks like Minnesota's going well for the most part. We've had a few dings. TJ Hawkinson went out with what is reported a groin issue. It sounds like a groin issue, even though Coach O'Connell called it knee, hip, and back area. Because he won't get specific until week 1. But he had his press conference right before this, and he's already said he's getting back out on the field. So I'm not worried about it. We did, for the bad, get notification that Jordan Addison will be serving a 3-game suspension for violation of the DUI policy. Now, was he
3 games?
Was he convicted of DUI? No, he was convicted of what was it? Wet something or other. And
wet in his beak?
It's wet.
Wet in his beak?
No, it's wet.
Oh, okay.
It's called wet something. No, I forgot what it's called. But it means he had alcohol in his system or it's alcohol related and blah, blah, blah. Wet reckless. That's what it was. So we were missing him for the first 3 games unless he appeals and gets it knocked down to 2. That means the Bears, which I'm not that worried about. That means who's our second game? Our second game is against the Falcons, which I'm not that worried about. But our third game versus Cincinnati, that's where he's going to be missed the most. So it is what it is. Hey there, Hex, you just missed the Green Bay summary. So we'll see. Now, obviously, star Justin Jefferson, he's on his way back. It was a light hammy in the first place. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, Jordan Mason is standing out in camp. I think we're going to have more of a 1-2 punch, 50-50 split between him and Aaron Jones. And our offensive line is banging some heads, which is good when they're in there. When Will Fries at right guard's in there and Christian Darrisaw at left tackle is in there. But they're all looking good. And Donovan Jackson, our rookie left guard, is looking good for a rookie. So we'll see. Now, some of the bad injuries are starting to pile up, even though they're relatively minor. Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, like I described. We'll see Josh Metellus with a mild ankle deal. Ryan Kelly's got bumps and bruises. It's on his elbow. but he's supposed to be back today doing some workout. Tight end draftee, 6th-rounder Gavin Bartholomew is still on the pup and is supposedly getting worse, from what I'm gathering, with his back injury. That's not good to see. We signed veteran Nick Van Etten, 10-year tight end. He'll be most likely win the tight end 3 job because of it. We'll see. Cornerback Isaiah Rodgers has been limited due to an undisclosed issue, which I'm curious what that is, but he hasn't been seen in a while. He's expected to be CB2. And, that's it. The offense is struggling with consistency issues as well. Some days they're great. Other days they're getting absolutely creamed by the defense. It's, what it is. So it's interesting to see. They're dealing with inconsistencies. J.J. McCarthy still looks good throwing the ball most of the time. He has overthrown a couple. He's still trying to dial in that touch. Right, he's got the bazooka that'll fire that sucker off at 100 miles an hour. But he needs to be able to dial and loft one over. He's still working on those. All different things like that are happening in Minnesota. So it's not all, purple Kool-Aid. Is it looking good overall? Oh, yeah, you betcha. Absolutely. But it's not perfection. It's not even close. And it's going to be interesting when we play this weekend. But, hey, it is what it is. We're still looking good. We're still having a great camp.
So not purple Kool-Aid, but not purple rain either.
No.
We're like something in the middle. I don't know what the middle will be, but
purple popsicle, maybe. I don't know. It's something. But we are overall having a great camp, and that's got to have fans excited. It's got me excited. I think we're going to, like I've said before, win 13 games this year. So
camp is where you not get the kinks out, Dave.
I know.
So the inconsistencies is just part of the process. I get told by a lot of people that I'm close with, like, hey man, you got to enjoy the process a lot more, man. It's not always about the destination. That's just me as a personal person. I'm always focused on, hey, I don't care about the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Tell me I need to get to the Fridays, stuff like that. But we can't skip them, right? You gotta go through the first ones first.
Yep. And it is what it is. And we can't wait because speaking of first ones, we have preseason week 1 ahead of us. Games for week 1 start on Thursday. Then there's games on Friday. There's games on Saturday. And there's games on Sunday. We'll go now between now and February without a game on a Saturday. Either pro or college. And same would go with Sundays. So, no. There's the 2-week gap between camp closing and start of the season. Misspoke, but we're close. Now, I'm going in the order of which week 1 games go first. And for the NFC North, that starts with the Atlanta Falcons versus the Detroit Lions Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Foster, have you looked to do your preview yet?
Have I started thinking about what I want to see in the upcoming game? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely want to see a cleaner game and, possibly take the ball away as opposed to just, handing it off to the other team, for a short yardage situation. But I think the biggest thing is Hendon Hooker, stepping up and asserting himself as a true backup. I think that, Dan Campbell pretty much kind of emphasized that he's kind of running out of opportunities. And it's imperative that we are comfortable going into the season that if Jared Goff has to miss a series or a game or something like that, that we're confident that he can step in and not miss too much of a beat. And at this point, that we don't even close to have that boat of confidence. So it's going to be imperative. He's going to get the start this week, so he will get those reps with the second team, with the second team receivers, offensive line, and all that type of stuff. So, Teddy Bridgewater has decided again to come out of retirement. And for a day, there was question about whether the Lions should go after him, but he signed with the Bucs. So that is not even an option for us right now. We have Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker, but outside of him, I'm hoping for a stronger performance. I'm hoping for Dominic Lovett to have a cleaner performance. To get rid of those drops. He is in competition for that possible sixth wide receiver role.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that is his saving grace at this point is I think he's our strongest gunner right now, which Dan Campbell loves those guys that can play multiple positions and contribute on special teams, so that will help him out. But can't be having all those drops. I'm hoping for a follow up strong performance from Hassanin, the project edge rusher out of Boise. And it looks like they are leaning towards Tyleik Williams getting some playing time in this game. He did not play in the first preseason game. So I'm hoping that we get our first opportunity to see him in action in a real football game.
I've got a viewer, Dylan, asked, what do you think of Isaac Tesla?
I'm really excited about how he's looked thus far. I think one of the more exciting parts of practice the other day was his ability to block, and that was that had the uproar of a one-handed catch. But yeah, those are the little things that are going to get you out in the field. Obviously, he's not going to get a ton of opportunities early on with St. Brown and J-Mo and stuff like that. But if if they have the confidence in him to do the little things and to contribute in other ways, he'll get more more opportunities than we might expect early on.
I got you. And Dalton asked, how's the new center? Isn't it Glasgow's got it?
It is Glasgow. And he's been good. He's got a lot of experience at that role, and I think that it's going to make it easier for Tate Ratledge to not have to worry about fully getting engulfed in that new position. He can just settle right into the position that he was comfortable with and playing throughout his college career.
And that's right guard.
Right guard.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Gotcha. All right, the next game is on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern at U.S. Bank Stadium, and it's the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Houston Texans. This is going to be an interesting game. Why? Because Coach Kevin O'Connell announced here a couple days ago that J.J. McCarthy will be starting. With that, that's cool. How long he stays in, undetermined, 1 or 2 drives, most likely, and that's it. But I'm curious as to if he's starting, which of the starters are going to play. We already know Justin Jefferson is not. Justin Jefferson, you won't see him till week 1. But will we see Christian Darrisaw in for a few plays? Will we see Will Fries? Both cleared to play, but they're slowly building up to, game shape type of deal. Will we see them? I don't know. Will we see Brian Kelly? He's got the banged up elbow. We could. We may not. It's going to be interesting to see which group of players are in there for the ones. And then the same again on the defensive side. You're going to have some of the older vets getting the weekend off. They'll be standing on the sideline watching, whether it be Harrison, Hitman Smith, but you may see it with Hargrave and crew on the defensive line as well. Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Allen, they're all the 30-plus guys. It's going to be interesting to see. But who knows? And then, of course, we're playing against Texans. So they've got a whole bunch of injuries, starting with Joe Mixon. They've got Tank Dell and several other defensive pieces. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be our first dip, toes dipped in the pond, so to speak, to get a little wet. So we get to watch some football, and it'll be fun. And we get to see the second and third stringers and what few fourth stringers we have battle for positions. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is seeing those guys.
Have they already decided if the ones and how long will the ones be out there if they do play?
No, that's just it. There's not all the ones will be out there at the same time, and we haven't heard which ones are getting the weekend off or getting the game off. But all of them will not, i.e. like Justin Jefferson. He's not going to play. And nor how long. I think it depends on how well that first drive goes, Pay. If it's a nice, long, progressive, boink, 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 big,
Boink, boink,
little
boinks.
chunks, big chunks, whatever, and goes down to a score, then we're fine. If it's, first down, J.J. McCarthy drops back, sees Jordan Addison screaming down the right sideline, boom, hits him, 82-yard touchdown. No, we're going to get a second drive because he's only had one play.
Mm-hmm. You all didn't talk. You all must not have any joints this week.
No, ours is next week. We have joint practice with the Patriots next week.
It's like a walkthrough. Not for Detroit either.
Not this week.
Oh,
Do you have a joint
Bears
practice
don't.
scheduled?
Oh,
Bears have. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you say you don't have one this week, but the Bears has their joint practice. As I spoke earlier, they have theirs on Friday with Miami Dolphins. Then they play them, obviously, on the 10th, so Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So how many of the starters are going to play on Sunday?
That's to be determined. I don't think that we will get that information until some point Friday, depending on how the joint goes. I think most people will assume that, right? I'll be shocked if we got that information any earlier than midday Friday. Usually,
We'll get into that, but let's get into the Packers next because they're next.
No, that's not.
Green Bay Packers versus the Jets on Saturday. This game is at 8 p.m. Central at Lambeau Field.
The trashiest greens.
Yeah, green on green violence. Which ones get lost?
The Waste
in the
Management
garbage?
Bowl.
Yeah, which ones get lost in the garbage cans first? You got it. It's going to be interesting. Matt LaFleur has confirmed starters, including Love, will see action in the game, providing, some valuable reps for them. Well, if they weren't having the inconsistency problems, they might not, but they obviously are, so he's starting them. That's good. And they've been hit with a whole bunch of injuries. They have offensive and defensive line issues and secondary issues. They're going to need to play. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Now, but I feel for the Jets. Who's going to play quarterback?
Is that breaking news? That something going on with
Justin
the quarterbacks
Fields
up
was
there in New
hurt
York?
this week.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, Toey hurt his toe.
Yeah. Now, whether he plays or not, I don't know. But he's at least sat out some practices. So, I don't know. And it's a toe. He's a running quarterback. He was such a big pain in our backside for so many years because he could run. It's going to be interesting.
Sucks. Yeah. I doubt that. He's definitely out for the remainder of the preseason. I mean, he's a toe. It's a very important toe for that quarterback. Your quarterback one. They don't really have a. If they had a rookie that they were invested in, then it would be a talking point. But yeah, they're going to nurse that until they have to play.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we've gone through. Foster plays on Friday. We play Saturday afternoon. Packers play Saturday evening. And then your Bears play Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, start against those Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Let's start getting back in the habit of noon kickoff times on Sunday. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones, Dave. Put it directly in my veins. Give me all the football. Yeah. As I spoke to a little bit earlier, I don't know if the ones are going to be playing. I would assume, just based on how Ben Johnson's been doing certain things, that the ones it's probably a 50-50. The way we do joint practices now in the NFL, you get your ones out there. The twos don't get a lot of work in joint practices. The twos get majority of the work in the game following the joints. I would expect that Ben at some point wants to see Caleb and the guys against live competition. Not so much where you're wearing the red jersey. You want to make sure you make the correct checks when there's somebody out there willing to commit malice against you, right? I think that's the ultimate practice. Will that be this week or the following week against the Buffalo Bills? Shout out to Buffalo Bills on Hard Knocks. I heard it was a very boring opening episode, but who's to say? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do it or not this week, but I am very, very interested in seeing what this joint practice shows us. The game, I'm very interested to see it because it's football, and hopefully the ones get out there for a series or two just to break that sweating. Just get it out the way, because at some point I expect to see them at some point in the preseason. Is all eyes will be on what goes on in the backfield and on the left tackle, because I don't think Braxton Jones, the incumbent starting left tackle, I don't think he's got that job sewn up. I think this guy Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College, I think he's got a lot to say about that stuff. Now they say every time they talk about him, they call him a behemoth. He's a giant man. He's like the mountain from Game of Thrones. Speaking of Game of Thrones, Dave, have somebody ever told you like George R.R. Martin?
Yes, they have. Believe it or not.
That doesn't.
I wish I had his millions. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I wish you did too, and I wish we had this conversation. We said, "Hey, George, come on, let's get on, let's get on with it. Get the rest of those books done." But in any case, stop talking about the Vikings. Let's get those books done. But back to the ball. You want to see the ones just because you want to make sure there's no excuses come week one. A thing that's plagued the Bears in the last couple of coaching regimes is it's taking too much time off during camp, not having enough hard practices, not doing enough in preseason, and then when the games start, we're like, well, we're struggling from not knowing, I left on my right foot and not knowing this call, like, and not ready to be physical. And it's like we're driving 35 miles per hour on the Kennedy. No go. They can't do that. We gotta get on that shoulder and be ready to hit it to 80. Lock, stop, and go. None of that stuff. So I don't want any excuses. I want to see the ones out there, possibly this weekend. That would make me happy. But if not, against the Buffalo Bills, I don't expect. The Bills are tricky. The Bills may or may not play their guys at any point this season because they're more. They're returning a lot of guys that are familiar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see ones go versus ones.
Well, you gotta hope to watch clips out of your joint training camp because that's where KOC's philosophies. He's already said next week the ones, our second preseason game, the ones will not play because they're getting most of their time during the joint practices.
And you know what? That's
controlled somewhat.
Yeah, and that's if we're being for real, that's you expect to see that. That's what you expect because for that very reason, it's more controlled. We can get a lot more done versus the variance, the uncontrolled variables you get out of a game. Even though they try to control it in preseason, you can't control everything. But more so the practice, like, hey, look, we need to see this. We need to get this. We need to get this action in. We need to see it. We need to see this play versus this look. And there's more of a, even though it's a joint practice between against competing teams, it is a collaborative process versus what you get in a game. So, yes, what's most important is what you get out of that joint. But for me, I want to see it on the field Sunday because I don't care about the variables. Yes, the work matters, but I again, like I said, the controlled violence, the malice that somebody can, deliver to your quarterback is very important too. We want to see him sped up and make the right decisions when he don't have that orange jersey on.
Yep, when he can get his buttons pushed. Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I got a notification that it stopped streaming on Facebook. Oh, well, we're still streaming on YouTube, so not a biggie. Well, gentlemen, I intend to watch all of your games this weekend, and everybody in the chat can watch all of the NFC North, and then we can come back next week and joke around and pick on how poorly the Green Bay Packers did. Sound good?
It suck.
Foster, you concur with that sentiment?
I do. And if inquiring minds wanted to know, the Lions will be hosting the Dolphins and Texans in the joint practices.
You got two of them. Cool. With that, any final words, Pay? Where can they find you?
You can find me and all my cohorts at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, located on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Amazon Music, Pandora, and all the rest. We just had a last day of install episode drop earlier today. Check that out. Talked all about the fracas and the quote-unquote fights that the practice had. We have dropped fantasy football primer episodes. What you do when you're targeting running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. Last one to do before the official drop date, quarterbacks. Come back and get that episode too. Like I said, anywhere you get your podcast, Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel.
Foster, where can they find you and your good works?
You can just Google Bleachers to Speakers. That'll give you all of our Detroit Lions content, and on same thing on YouTube, and that covers all of our Detroit sports teams: Pistons, Tigers, Lions, all that.
And you're still working on the Red Wings.
Working on it. Season's around the corner. Well, not quite around the corner, but a couple months.
Gotcha. And of course, everybody they know they can find Vikings First and Skull because you're here. But what we have new this week is we debuted our Discord, and both you fine gentlemen are more than welcome to join. We have a whole section on this program and another section on the NFC North. And you are more than welcome. It's pinned in the chat. It's the second to top chat. It's also in the description. So everybody that's watching, feel free to come over and join. It's free. If you want an old style or new style of old-fashioned message board, is sort of what it's like. And it's very, very interesting. And we talk all sorts of things besides football. We talk about food. We talk about beverage, and different things. We got wagering, which you'd be interested in pay. And, but there's, like I said, a whole section on the NFC North, and there's a whole section on who will be king. So with that, what do we say? Pay, what do they say in Chicago? Foster. Let me get it right. There we go.
Right.
And of course, in Minnesota, we say, Skol Vikings. And thank everybody for watching and joining us. Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a frustrated Chicago sports fans, Bleachers to Speakers, Vikings First and Skull, and of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.